So Will, what do you see as a top priority for digital experts right now?
I think one of the top priorities certainly is working out the role of digital video in the overall media landscape. I think for a long time planners, buyers, advertisers, creatives have all been centred around the sort of TV world, and the role of how TV is going to progress into the online world, how digital is going to replace TV, supplement TV, whether it's a first screen, second screen kind of exercise. I think that whole world needs to be thrashed out over the next sort of few years. I think there are a lot of questions. How far is digital going to replace TV in an over-the-top world, whether it's going to be connected TV, whether it's something that digital is only going to be via mobile, or whether digital will be a second screen experience for watching sports or for catch-up. I think that is a really crucial area for digital, people interested in the digital world to get their heads around.
Okay, cool. And so what do you think other sectors are doing that you currently aren't in TV at the moment?
I think the thing that we're really struggling with in the TV world more is the social elements. I think if you look at what digital is doing really well, the whole interactive conversation piece around Twitter and Facebook is happening, is really exploding, and I think even a lot of brands have gotten hold of it a lot better than a lot of creative companies or TV companies. I think one thing that we see in digital is a great feedback loop around here's some content, here's what the audience thinks, here's how that audience can influence the next sort of iteration of that content. And that's not something that's really happening in TV right now because of the commissioning cycles and because of the creative process. There's not a lot of opportunity to include audience feedback as part of the creative process. And I think that's something that we need to really think about quite carefully.
Okay, cool. And so following that, what's the biggest obstacle that you face at the moment in actually achieving your commercial digital goals?
I think possibly the biggest obstacle is just inertia. I think for a long time, a lot of marketers, a lot of advertisers have been really focused on the traditional media world, the TV world and the print world in particular. I think they're getting their heads around moving to digital, and Google has been a really great catalyst in moving them into that whole environment. I think they see platforms like Twitter and Facebook and can sort of see the value of engaging with audiences, but can't necessarily see the value of paid advertising or marketing around those kind of platforms. And certainly for my particular sector, which is online video, I think there is a big question mark as to how they engage with the online video world. Is it something where they need to be commissioning content? Is it something where they should be sponsoring content? Is it something where they should be engaging with people like ChannelFlip in the same way they engage with people like ITV and have the same kind of commercial relationships? And I think it's all so new and so I don't want to say we're making it up as we go along, but the rules for what we do are being made now. They don't already exist. And so the overcoming that inertia of, well, it's a bit complicated and, well, I'm not quite sure what I'm getting and it's a bit experimental, that's something that is a real challenge for us at the moment, particularly when the TV companies are getting quite aggressive about dropping rates, or the relaxation of product placement rules makes it a bit more flexible for the sort of things that they can do as well. So I think getting marketers, getting advertisers to really understand what can be done, particularly in online video, is a really big challenge for us.
So in line with that, if you could actually pick out one single topic to discuss and find an answer to, what would it be?
I think it would be the role of brands as content commissioners. I would be really interested to thrash out what do people think the appropriate role for brands is in an online video world. So in the traditional TV world, a brand can either pay for advertising, spot advertising, as a 30-second ad within a break, or they can sponsor a piece of programming. So you've got Downton Abbey brought to you by Aviva. It's increased. I think it's quite rare that they will actually pay for an entire piece of content to be aired in a particular slot. And even if they do, often the editorial control has to be ceded by them to the broadcaster. In an online world, they can retain that editorial control, and in many cases they can also retain their own broadcast rights. If you broadcast it on the brand Facebook page or on the brand YouTube page, you don't need to involve a broadcaster like ITV or Channel 4. And so I think brands, to get their head around how are we best placed to use this kind of medium? Are we best commissioning our own content? Should we show it on YouTube? Should we show it on our own brand page? Should we work with a specialist like ChannelFlip? Should we work with a TV company that has a VOD platform? That would be a question I'd be really interested to answer.
Okay, And finally, has working in digital media altered your personal attitude towards content consumption?
I think I'd possibly say it's the other way around, which is that my personal attitude to content consumption is what led me to work in digital media. I've always been quite a bit of a geek. I've been a technology fan from a very early age, and I remember, downloading all sorts of music and movies when I was young, and that really influencing the way that I consume media. I remember at university being one of the only people who was ever sort of watched TV on their laptop. And so I think what's been really interesting to see is the amount of avenues that there are now to get content digitally. I think you can rent it or buy it from iTunes. You can get it from Love Film. You can get it via Sky is doing a really great job of bringing catch up and VOD onto platforms like iPad. It's definitely changed the way I consume print media. I used to be a real magazine junkie, and I'm a big fan of particularly American magazines. I love American GQ and Details and magazines like that, which you can't get over here. It used to be you could get them in Borders, alas no more. So I love being able to get those on the iPad because you can get those globally, and so I can read US Wired and UK Wired, and US GQ and UK GQ, and so basically I think the way that it's changed is that my entire digital consumption now is pretty much on my iPad. Or if it's not on my iPad, it's being thrown up to my Apple TV on my big screen at home. So I think it's a bit half of one and half of the other, but definitely no more magazines, no more DVDs, no more Sky subscription. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but it's all gone on demand. So definitely I think digital has certainly changed the way that I consume content, and talking to a lot of my peers has certainly changed the way that they consume as well.